to do. Okay. Hi, Jennifer Felten.
Hi, Scott.
You're a good sport. You're a good sport. So, Jennifer, so nice to have you here. I think I've tried to get you on in the last two or three rounds, but you're like Miss Popular attorney, litigator. Everyone wants your time. So, thank you for making the time.
I'm super excited to get to do this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll see if you feel that way at the end.
I think we'll be just fine.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that's interesting, because I know a lot of attorneys through our networking group and stuff, but the fact that you specialize in like escrow, title, brokerage, real estate development, I mean, there I'm going like, how many people do I know? And I'm going like, Jennifer Felton. That's it. And so I would love to hear more about your sweet spot. What is it? What is it that got you into that particular area of law? And what makes you passionate about it? What do you like about it so much?
Yeah, so I got into real estate by accident.
Really?
Yeah. Um,
Uh-huh.
I got pregnant at 18
You
and
did?
I did. Yeah.
Wow.
So I got pregnant. I dropped out of college. My parents stopped talking to me. My husband didn't want to work. And I
Wait,
had
you were pregnant and married?
I got pregnant and married and didn't tell my parents.
Wow, bad girl.
I
Bad girl,
was,
Jennifer
right?
Felton.
I went off to
Wow.
UCLA, right? My first quarter at UCLA, I got pregnant
Uh-huh.
and married. And I came home for Christmas and told my parents. Um,
Wow.
as you can imagine, they were less than pleased with this.
I
Um,
wonder why.
I wonder, right? So I had to get a job, right? Like I had to deal with a family, and I had to become an adult super quick.
Mm-hmm.
My first husband's sister was a title rep, so she worked for a title company, sold title insurance,
Mm-hmm.
and she got me an interview. I got a job in customer service, so I did labels, right? Farms,
Okay.
realtors. That was my first job.
Oh, really? You used
Yeah,
what an awful job.
it is a horrible job.
Having to appease realtors because a lot of us are a pain in the ass. Let's
So
face it, we're very like, do it our way, do what we want, do it. We
it,
always want something.
it's the bottom of the barrel, like entry level job, right? Where you get
Uh-huh.
yelled at and poorly paid for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't like that very much. And where I was at, my office, there's our customer service department, which were
Mm-hmm.
we're the little worker bees. But in the next room, there was escrow officers, right? And they all had nice cars and nice shoes and somewhat reasonable husbands, and I had none of it. So,
I didn't realize how funny you are. I'm enjoying this so much. Keep
so
going.
I go, how do I get over there, right?
Oh.
And so within a year, I was in escrow, right? And I got into escrow. So I did escrow for 15 years,
Mm-hmm.
which is a really challenging job, as you can imagine. You talked about how demanding realtors can be. They are,
Right.
right? And look, most people's purchase of a home is their largest investment, right? So they're emotionally charged, and it's a very challenging situation. I learned a ton. I really
Mm-hmm.
became very knowledgeable and a specialist in title and real estate, but I didn't want to spend 50 years doing escrows. That was not the plan.
I could name a couple of people that we both know.
They're less humorous than I am.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. But they're really great at what they do, though. I'll tell you that.
But it really does kill your soul.
Oh my gosh.
And
Uh-huh.
it's a hard job, right? And so I dumped the husband and I dumped escrow. I went back.
Uh-huh.
I went back to UCLA and did my undergrad, and then I went back to law school and became a real estate attorney. My 15 years of real world experience really set me up to be a specialist in title and escrow
Mm-hmm.
brokerage. And when I was an escrow officer, I did subdivisions. So subdivisions is this niche of new homes, and
Mm-hmm.
in California, we regulate new home building very highly. Right? We
Mm-hmm.
regulate everything crazy in California, but new homes are particularly regulated. You have to have a public report. You have to create an association. It's a whole thing.
Sure.
So I had this book of developer clients from being in escrow. So I went and found a developer lawyer to go work for, and I learned how to do that. And so I really developed, these handful of niches that I've cultivated into, the firm that I have today.
That's great. That's great. So, because your niche, I think, is definitely one of the things that makes you stand out. And every time we're in the group together, all I hear is great things about you. And so, but now I swear to God, I'm requesting a troika with you because I need to laugh with you. Maybe it'll be for drinks or something like that.
I would
So
love.
so how old is so was boy or girl your first?
She is 32 today.
Wow.
So I have a 32-year-old with two. She has three kids, so I have three grandkids, and then
Sweet.
I did find a decent husband, and so we have two kids as well. So they are 13 and 11.
That's awesome.
21
Did
years.
you know? I know you didn't ask. Did you know that I was in college, got a woman pregnant, absolute idiot, messing around and stuff,
Yep.
blessed with the most amazing son. I was
Correct.
20 years old.
Yep.
And so very similar to yours. Not an awful mom or person, but we were just young and just like we weren't meant to be together. But now we have this beautiful son. He's 42. Just made me a grandfather like 3 years ago.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, it's so we have that in common now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but I can't even imagine to. I mean, because at 20, to me, I felt like, oh man, this is not. At 18, I wouldn't even know what to say.
Yeah. It,
18, but then again, girls are more mature generally.
I not. It's not a more mature, in my opinion. It was. I didn't have a choice, right? I mean,
Hmm.
what are your options? I have a
Yeah.
child that I have to be responsible for. I got to figure out how to pay the bills. I mean, like with most things in my life, I really don't feel like there's a lot of choice. It's like, I decided I was going to go back and get my undergrad, and I did it in 3 years.
Wow.
I
Sweet.
did a night program at law school, a 4-year program in 3 years, working full,
Hmm.
right? Like I'm a, if you set your mind to something and you're motivated,
Hmm.
you just do it, right?
When you
Yeah.
set your mind on things.
Yeah. I'm a true believer that we really don't even come close to our limits as human
Hmm.
beings, and that if we set our mind to something, we can make it happen.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. It was interesting because we just had a session with this guy, uh, senior placement or senior care in homes. Really nice guy.
Yeah.
And he says, "What's more important?" He says, "Discipline or passion?" And I'm going, "I'm doing the interviewing here, okay? First off, so yeah, you want to take a road? Oh, it's your podcast all of a sudden, Robel?" No, but he asked that, and I said, "Good question." I said, "Both," and he says, "Why?" I said, "Because what you're passionate about, you need to be disciplined in order to pursue your passion." And with me, it was always been the kids. So when my son James was first born, and I was moving up in the industry, and they were asking me, "How are you doing so much business?" I said, "How can I not? I want to freaking get home to my boy." And I said, "Is the panel almost over? Because I want to go spend time with my kid." And he did. I wanted it so badly to get home. So to me, finally, I was out in the cubicle, and eventually they said, "Do you want an office?" And I said, "No, I'm okay." And they said, "Take the freaking office." And I went in there. Best thing that ever happened because I'm not talking to people. I'll get out and talk to people like you, but I don't want to be spending 2 hours chit chatting at work. I just don't. So very disciplined. But it sounds like you. You're passionate about what you needed, and so you have the discipline to execute.
Yeah. I don't see it as an option, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm a very targeted. So I set a goal and we're going, and like
Hmm.
nothing's getting in the way.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I have on my wall. I won't show you, but it says a canvas I made. And it says, "Be a Nike, just do it." Yeah. It's like I tell the team that all the time. I say, "Stop, stop, stop, stop. Figure out what you're good at. Figure out what your superpower is, right? Don't put anything on your list that you're not going to do. Like, I'm going to go after expireds. No, you're not. You're terrible at it. You know what? Who's good at it is this team, this team, this team. We're not good at it.
Right.
So we go down and then we narrow it down. I said, "Now, can you commit to this?" And, "Well, I think I can." Then, if this is not the list you can commit to, let's keep on going. And then eventually we get to it. I'm really just trying to refine that with the team. And so I think that's where a lot of great success comes from.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, I mean, I'm a marketing person. I think you know that. And,
Mm-hmm.
I have figured out the things that I'm good at from a marketing
Mm-hmm.
standpoint. And those are what I do. And the things I'm not good at, I just don't do them. Right. So
Right.
there's 1,000 different ways you can market. So,
Mm-hmm.
I happen to like public speaking. I enjoy being in front of people, and I've built a skill set at it. But some people, that's their worst fear to public speak. So don't use that
Right.
as a marketing plan.
There's
Do
a
something
thought.
else, right?
It's true. 'Cause I was between episodes. I was talking to Nico, and I said, "I got some new ideas." He goes, "What? Well, what are they?" I said, "I'm still refining them." And he's asking, "But I'm not ready to. I'm not ready to share." When we started the podcast, I went to my marketing person and said, "Here's what I want to do. I'm not going to become the next Joe Rogan. I'm not that guy." Again, he's brilliant. There's a bunch of guys that are brilliant at this, men and women. What I want to do is just continue. I want to shine a light on people like yourself,
Yeah.
and I want to continue to get in front of my sphere. So that I'm in front with smart people, and guess what? They're going to make me look great. So I'm using you completely, Jennifer. I just want you to know that this
I do
is all about me.
I do the same thing, right? I mean, we do interview videos with, the people I love and who are the resources that I use when I need help. And
Mm-hmm.
it is a great way to really work with your partners and learn and grow and give each of you an opportunity to get out there and be top of mind, because that's really what we're
Right.
talking about, right?
Exactly.
The top of mind marketing is the best type of marketing for a professional service provider. We need
Mm-hmm.
to touch people 7 times for them to remember us. That's what the
Right.
statistics say, right? So if you're putting out content every week, every month, whatever it is,
Right.
that pattern and that consistency is going to get them to think of you when the issue that you're able to solve for them comes up for them or someone they know,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
not
Couldn't
it's
agree
not
more.
who you know, it's who knows you. They're not the same.
Ah, look at you. Got an
Yep.
attorney and a marketing guru. I got that. I see what you're doing.
Yep.
Well, with my marketing person, I told her, I said, I want to invite, I sent that email to you. I said, I want you to help me to put together a template
Yep.
with an invitation. I'm
Yeah.
going to do it by text because people respond more to text.
Yes.
And then once I do that and they say yes, I mark them down. I send them an invite along with Nico. And then the next thing I know, I'm meeting with you. And then once we're done, he does the rest of the work.
Yeah.
It's like, yay! It works out really nice. I do have, so in your business, I mean, you can go back to real estate help before, before you were an attorney, or you could be something that you've gone through yourself recently, one of your own purchases, or it could be one of your deals. Why don't you give us a taste of a couple stories?
My, people don't call attorneys because things are going well, right?
Yeah.
My phone rings because something bad has happened and we're trying to, they're hoping I can give them a solution. So I would
Hmm.
say one of the biggest things right now is all the title fraud that we're seeing.
Yeah, that's right.
That is an issue that is coming up more and more. So right now here in Ventura County, we have an issue where someone is going on to the government websites and changing who are listed as the owners of entities, right? So going on to the Secretary of State and changing them, and then
How do they do that?
it,
How does
well,
it mean? How do you even do it?
so this is the thing, like this is an issue with both recording and like the Secretary of State website. Anybody can go on to the Secretary of State website and file that they're the owner of a.
I see. So it's not like they're going in and dolling up a document. What they're doing is creating a new one that looks a lot like another one.
No, they're actually going into the Secretary of State's website. They're saying, I own, Relaw, my law firm, right? And they say, oh, I'm Bob, I'm the owner of Relaw, right? And they just file
Hmm.
a new statement of information, which anyone
What?
can go online and do at any time, right? So
There's no way. There's no way There's got to be prevention in place.
there's no vetting of people going into,
Lord, how's
right?
that even possible? How's that?
Because it's our whole public record system is designed to allow you to file your paperwork. Like they're
Hmm.
swearing they're telling the truth, right? So they're committing a crime, but there's no stopping, right? Like they can do
Hmm.
it. And so they're going in and changing who the owners are, and then they're going and opening escrows and selling these properties as if they're the
Oh my
owners.
gosh.
And the escrow vets it. They go on the Secretary of State's website and it says, "Yeah, Bob owns this,"
Hmm.
right? They don't know any different, right?
Right.
And they're transferring title of properties, without the owner's knowledge or consent, right?
Hmm.
But we see notary fraud situations, we see impersonations. I mean, the list goes on and on of
Hmm.
fraud that's going on. The big thing is just being on top of your stuff, right? You
Right.
need to be monitoring your title just like you monitor your credit, making
Mm-hmm.
sure that you're watching. We can't stop someone. It's like you lock your car when you leave your car at the mall, right? Is that really going to stop someone if they really want your car? You
Right.
know, it's
No, I
pretty
hear you.
it's pretty dang easy to break into a car if you really want to, right?
Right, but it's a deterrent. Maybe they're going to go to the easier one then.
Right. If my car's locked and has an alarm, they'll go to the one next to it that's not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the idea is we want to make ourselves as unattractive to the
Huh?
bad guy as possible so that they go
Right.
find a different victim than us, right?
So, do you what do you think about those services that say they'll monitor your title? Because it's always when you see that stuff, you go, "What the hell?" But do you like them?
So yes and no.
Oh gosh, that's an answer that an attorney would give.
This is us attorneys, our number one answer to a question is it depends, right?
Yes, yes.
And this is one of those it depends answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad thing to have a service monitoring your credit, and they're relatively inexpensive. So I'm not opposed to them as a baseline concept. But what they do is watch for things to get recorded against your property.
Mm-hmm.
So if something gets recorded against your property, they let you know that your house got stolen, right? Like they,
Uh-huh.
they
By
don't
the way.
they don't stop your house from being stolen, right?
Oh
They
God.
just let you know it happened, right?
Uh-huh.
Which is better than not knowing that it
Right.
happened, right? And the sooner we know, like when your credit gets stolen, right? The sooner you know and can do something about it, the better. But it's still a pain in the you know what if it
Yeah.
happens,
In the
right?
ass.
So, but one of the things that is happening, there's a new law in California that goes into effect January 1st of 2027. And it is going to require the recorder's offices to notify every existing owner when a deed is recorded against their property. So you won't
Did
need a
that make
service
sense?
after next year because it'll be automatic. Again,
Mm-hmm.
it still has the same problem of they're going to tell you your house was stolen, but the government's going to do it.
Why can't
Right.
it be something like a 1 day delay? You know
So
what I
let's
mean?
think
So that
about
you know, so if someone's doing this, but it's going to be a but so the current owner
so
is notified.
how would they notify, right? They don't have your email address. They don't have your, right? Like the government doesn't have all of our, well, they have access to it theoretically, but they don't know who, like, right? It's not that simple. It's a huge, I mean, we are at a point in time where technology is moving faster than we can manage it from a
Mm-hmm.
risk, fraud standpoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our recording system, our Secretary of State system, right? Like we need to fundamentally change how we do these things to solve these problems, right? Things like blockchain and things like notifications and things like better, communication with the government can be created to make this happen. Though most of us don't want Big Brother having
Right.
all our
Only
stuff,
what
right?
we want them when we want them.
Right. It's a balancing act, but we are not keeping up from a fraud defense standpoint with technology and what the bad guys can do with it.
Right.
So one of the things that I really like, I represent escrow companies, right? And they're
Mm-hmm.
often wrapped up in these fraud situations. I mean, I get called once or twice a month with an escrow company that has a closed escrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
The deal is closed and the seller wasn't the owner of the property. The person they were dealing with is a fraudster.
Once or twice a month.
Correct.
Wow.
That's the volume that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I get several where they caught it every month,
Mm-hmm.
but several get through every month. And the systems just aren't there to manage this in a good way. So we need to figure it out because it's real damage that people are dealing with and living with. And
Mm-hmm.
we are going to have to figure out tech solutions to manage what tech is allowing. When I was an escrow officer, 30 some odd years ago, I knew everyone who I was doing a deal with, right?
Mm-hmm.
I knew the realtors. They came in and opened the escrow at my desk,
Right.
right? You remember when, off of a two-page purchase agreement?
Oh my gosh.
I
When I got in, it was triplicate, and I was so happy when zip forms came along because I was so tired of having to go through all of these because if I had one little mistake, I redid the whole thing.
I typed escrow instructions on a typewriter, right?
Wow. Hmm.
And we didn't have email, right? The speed of business and the scope of business was totally different than what we're dealing with today. So, but the people are still you and I who think we're dealing with our neighbors when we're not, right? So
Right.
we have to be vetting and thinking about our transactions in a different way so that we're not susceptible to the bad guys who are going to use our inherent belief in people against us,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
Um, so it's a real challenge, and often these deals have realtors on them, right? It's not like these are just for sale by owners. So we will call the listing agent and be like, "Do you know the seller? Because we just found out he's not who he says he is." Oh yeah, he
Right.
he emailed me and said he needed a realtor. Okay, I'll just tell you right now. If some random person emails you and wants you to list their property, it's a scam.
Right. Right. Yes.
And
How many texts? I get so many texts and emails. Probably every day, someone is saying, are you still selling real estate? Are you doing this? I might have this for you." And I just delete, 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 delete.
so I have my broker's license, so I get the emails. Oh, I
Mm,
saw your last listing. It was great. Can you list my property? I'm like, well, since I don't actually list property, right? I'm probably not going to be able to help you, right?
yeah, but I can arrest you.
I can give your name to some people who can come give you a call,
Yeah, and
right?
pick you up.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm very involved in a group called the Real Estate Fraud Advocacy Team. So it was
Hmm.
formed in Ventura County about 15 years ago, and it's a collaboration with the District Attorney's Office, the Ventura County Recorder, and the Board of Realtors. And
Hmm.
we put on seminars and we educate the community to try and mitigate some of this fraud that's going on. And every year you think, oh well, we've done it all. Like we've told everybody
Hmm.
everything. And every year when I go to write my presentation, I'm like, I got 10 new things to talk about, right? I mean,
Right. Right.
it
Because someone's always going to figure, like you said, if they want to do it, they're going to figure it out.
correct. And as soon as like wire fraud was the big thing for a long time, right?
Hmm.
And like I'm getting now with title fraud, I was getting those calls with wire fraud. I mean, at
Hmm.
least one of an escrow company with money missing. You know, my biggest one was $2.3 million
Wow.
disappeared. I mean, crazy, right? That doesn't happen today. It's extremely rare that we have wire
Hmm.
fraud because we figured out what the issue was and we filled the holes, right? We built systems to address it. So they moved to a different scam, right? And
Hmm.
that's the challenge is as soon as we catch on and fix
They're
a
going to the
problem,
next. Yeah.
go on to the next thing. And I will say some of the things they come up with are so creative and
Hmm.
innovative. I'm like, these people would be great in business.
Right. You should hire
They're
them.
using it for scams.
Yeah.
They should use it for real good purposes, right?
What you need to do is meet them, reform them, and then hire them.
Pretty much, right? The
That's right.
the catch me if you can guy, right? Like
That's
he's
right.
the government now, right?
So it's interesting because I like to I put together titles as we go. And one of them is 18 and pregnant equals law school.
Pretty
Can
good,
I
huh?
use that? Because I don't
Yeah,
want to use, because this is a
doesn't
personal
bug
thing.
me at all.
Okay.
No,
Because to me, if someone knows about the fact in college I did it, I don't think twice about it. Because to me, I've got my beautiful son because of it. Although I was an absolute idiot at the
you know
time.
what? I am very proud of who I am and where I've come, and it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't done some of the things I did, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Being 18 and having to become responsible and learn how to manage the real world gave me the skills to get to where I'm at today. I honestly
Hmm.
wouldn't have gotten here but for the struggles that I went through, right?
Yep, I totally agree. That's why you don't want to look back and regret it because you can look at it and go, "Okay, I'm going to learn from it." And I'm not like the kids ask, when you have a kid that's 42 like I do, and you've got someone pregnant at 20, I'm having a talk with my kids about, being careful and the ramifications of it on every level, spiritually, emotionally, physically, everything like that. And they look at me like, "Dad, didn't you have a kid at 20?" I said, "Hold on. hold on. I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change that. The only reason I would change that is if I could change it and still keep Christopher, then I would. But if it means one or the other, then yes, I was an idiot, but I'm keeping Christopher. So.
I don't even think I was an idiot, right? Like I think it was meant to happen in many ways, right? It really was. It set me on the path that got me to where I am. And I love what I do. I
Mhm.
love the world that I've been able to build. And I would have never gotten into real estate if I hadn't got pregnant, right? Like that wasn't anywhere near my zeitgeist. And college doesn't the college path and the real estate path are very different, right? So very few people in real estate have, went a college path because
Mhm.
there's no like there's no college curriculum for escrow. You can't go to college to learn how to do escrow. I would have never gotten to where I'm at
Mhm.
if I had followed a traditional path. So
Right.
I'm glad I didn't follow the traditional path. It gave me an opportunity I would have never
Mhm.
had otherwise.
No,
And
but you know what,
and
Jennifer?
again,
That's the right attitude, exactly, and I totally agree. That being said, when I'm talking to my 20-year-old, I'm not saying, you know what, you should go out and do the same thing. You know what,
you
son,
must
it
it'll be
really,
great.
yeah, it worked out for me, and I really think that you should do that. So I agree with everything you're saying. The one little caveat is like, I'm not going to tell them to do it though, but they know that I wouldn't change it for them, 100%.
Look, we each are going to find our own path one way or another. But, like my older daughter, right? She was valedictorian at her high school, went off to college, Vanderbilt, you know, double major, computer science, math, engineering, management minor. Like she did what my parents imagined I was going to do, right?
Yeah,
And
right,
and guess what? She hated it and now has gone to a whole new career, right? Because just because you can do something and just because that's the path you're on doesn't mean it's the right path, right?
totally agree.
So, you know, even when you did everything right,
Uh-huh.
you can still end up wrong path and need to make an adjustment. And that's the thing is that's okay, right?
Mhm.
Whatever the need for adjustment, because the reality to I think you probably have seen this in your life. The reality to having the life you want is doing something you're passionate about, that
Correct.
you care, because
Hmm.
then it's not work, right?
That's
And
the theme
so
of the day today is passion. Hmm.
however you get there is fine, right? You'll get where if you get there, you will have the life you want, and the rest of it will be gravy, right?
Yeah, I agree. I had someone tell me recently that his brother is big into sports, and so he decided, since he likes traveling and into sports and stuff, he decided he was going to be a professional photographer following around
Okay.
athletes. So now he's traveling for his job, and he's doing all the things he wants to do. And I went, that's fucking awesome. So what's his name? And he says, tells me the guy, tells me the name. Text it to my son Jude, who's deciding which school to go to. I said, there are so many jobs you don't know about. Here's a really cool one. Don't stop looking. You need to imagine what you want to do and find that job. Don't let the world just lay it on you. And so he got that and he says, oh, that's awesome, Dad. I said, who knows what it's going to be, but make sure you're passionate about it, you love it, and of course you want to support your family. So if you can get all that, you've done pretty well.
That was one of my rules with my older daughter in particular, right? So I told her she had to get a STEM degree.
Mm-hmm.
She needed to do science, math, technology. I wasn't paying for college for her to get an Oriental basket weaving degree,
Okay,
right?
fair
I
enough.
wasn't because there's a job with money at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you should do what you're passionate about, but you need to be able to monetize it. That
Right.
that is a necessity
That's the right
for
there.
for right? That to get to the life you want, you got to make money.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be what you're passionate about, right? You need to have a passion about whatever it is you're doing, but you need to monetize it in whatever way you can. So
Well
for
put.
me, right, I'm a lawyer. I monetize on that, but I monetize on teaching, which is what I
Mm-hmm.
really love. So I found a
Huh?
way
Oh, that's
to
great.
get paid to teach, right?
Mm-hmm. That's
So you
awesome.
can take whatever it is and find a way to monetize it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a conversation I was just having with my 20-year-old too. Is that he goes, Dad, I think money's actually really, really important. And I said, yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. I said, but it can't be all about money. So it was basically, you just put it beautifully. I'm going to use that when I talk to him next. But I'll just have to say, hey, watch this. You're going to love this woman. So,
Right. So there's it's a Venn diagram, right? So you have to have what you care about, right? What you're passionate about. You have to figure out how to make it profitable, right?
mm-hmm,
And then you have to build your skill set in whatever it is, right? So
mm-hmm,
if you get that Venn diagram, that little center point, which is the hedgehog from good to great, right? That's the success, right? That's your hedgehog, and that's your getting to your life goal, right? But all three are necessary.
mm-hmm.
If you love what you're doing, for me, one of my things is I like doing triathlons. I know, weird,
You like
crazy.
doing
I
what?
like running triathlons, right?
Oh, really?
So
Oh,
run,
that's
bike,
right. You did mention that
right?
before. Wow. So,
But I'm not gonna pay the bills on triathlons,
right. Mm-hmm.
right? I haven't monetized that. That just
Right.
costs money. so
Right.
So I can do that, right? But that can't be where I'm going from a professional standpoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to figure out what you need to fill a need, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you kind of talked about it when you were talking about your team and who's doing what, right?
Mm-hmm.
What need do your clients have and how can you fill it? Whatever that is, right? So, and if you do that well, right, and you build a niche, you're going to be who everybody thinks of when that issue comes up. You
Right.
said it. I, there are other people who can do what I do, but I'm who you think of when those issues come up because
Right.
I've made it clear that that's where I'm at and what I do.
Absolutely. So what we've done now is we've gone from the front to the back. We put it all together. This is
All
a
good.
perfect way to wrap this up.